Hi everybody, I'm Beebs Kelley. Welcome back to another fashion edition. Today we're going to take a look at the Critics' Choice Awards, which just happened. Vogue put out a list of best dressed stars. Let's see if we agree. Before we get started on the first look of the night, I would like to invite you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Click the like button and the hype button, but only if you want to. This is Mia Goth, and I really like this dress, and it is Dior, which makes sense. I absolutely love Dior's cleaner silhouettes, very feminine fashions and styles. I just really tend to enjoy Dior looks, and this is a perfect example of it. It's a simple column dress with a unique neckline with this draping over the shoulders is really beautiful. It doesn't sit too low on her bust line, as you can see. It's not doing anything weird there. The sleeve element also covers the armpit crease. Not the most flattering way to describe it, but you know, the little crease right here, when that's showing, it always gives the impression that something's sitting too low when you have a sleeved element like this. So the construction of this is just perfect. It's very flattering to her. The styling is very nice as well, accentuating and elongating her neck. And it's a very balanced style. I really like this. Very well executed. Paul Mescal in a rather plain Gucci suit. I like this. I like that the shirt underneath is different. It lacks buttons, so it feels like a fresh and modern way to wear a suit. I like it. It's well fitted and the silhouette isn't overly dramatic either. In archival Ralph Lauren, we have Elle Fanning looking beautiful in this gold dress. I love this. I really actually quite like archival designs because they tend to have a more classic silhouette or a timeless design that can still be worn today and look amazing. And timeless and classic styles tend to be some of my favorites, in part because you won't look back on it and think, what the heck was I wearing? It's not focused on trends. It's focused on a beautiful design and construction to a dress, and this is a great example of this. And this type of neckline can be really tricky to pull off. Sometimes it looks ill-fitting, or like there's not enough fabric, or sometimes it looks like there's too much fabric, or it's really frumpy. Like if you have a large bust, this style can end up adding too much volume to your torso area here and hide your waistline and make you look really frumpy. So this was actually a really nice choice for her specifically. Ego is wearing Carolina Herrera here. I actually like this one. I don't always like Carolina Herrera's designs, especially when she left, stopped designing, and somebody else took over. I really didn't like a lot of his designs. They always had really weird bust lines. It was like he didn't understand how to properly do the bust line for a woman to make it flattering. This dress is really nice. It's very streamlined, very simple. The focal point is this bow, and the draping and the gathering of the fabric right at the hip here is very flattering. It's creating some diagonal lines. It's telling the eye where to go. I quite like this. I think this is very nice and elongating as well to the leg. The only thing I don't like about it is how it just from the waist up looks like just a plain t-shirt. I think there could have been something done here to kind of spruce it up a tiny bit, make it look a little bit more elevated and polished, because even just the fabric is reading like a regular t-shirt here. Perhaps even just some black banding or something of that nature, and maybe a little bit better of a fit beneath her bust line would have helped as well, make it more flattering for her specifically, but overall, I like the dress. Wearing the Row, which is the Olsen Twins brand, we have Renate. I quite like this one. A lot of their stuff is like oversized and I don't love it, but this one I like. My biggest complaint is that it seems to be just a little bit ill-fitting around where the bust line is and the upper part of the torso here. It's just got a little bit of bunching or folding of the fabric, almost like the dress can't hold up the weight of the belted and draping fabric, but I do like the mix of texture here. I wish she had a necklace though to break up the neckline. I don't know that I would put it on best dressed though, because the fit is a little tricky. Rose Byrne looks really lovely. I absolutely love her styling for this. The hair and makeup are beautiful, and because she's wearing such large earrings, like chandelier style earrings, she does not need a necklace. I quite like this dress. It's very interesting, a lot of textures, the tiers to the skirt, it's very nice, but it's not eating up her figure. It's not overwhelming her because it has good balance, and it's a drop waist style skirt that doesn't start till like the upper thigh area, so it allows her waistline room to breathe and her torso and whatnot to have room, so it's not overwhelming her at all, which is really, really nice. A lot of the more voluminous style looks tend to start too high and make somebody look a lot bigger than they are, or really overwhelm and dominate the person. It looks like the clothes are wearing them rather than the other way around, and this negates that. This is great proportion. Michael B. Jordan is wearing Louis Vuitton, but I don't love the fit of this suit. It's almost like there's too much volume around the hip and upper thigh. And even in the lower portion of the waist. So like the silhouette of this was meant to be almost like frumpy throughout here, and then it's making his legs look too small. I do love the color though. The pink undershirt, pulling in the tones in the tie. I really love the colorways here, but I do not like the structure of this suit, so I would not put it on best dressed. Ginnifer Goodwin is wearing Giorgio Armani. This one's okay. I'm not a huge fan of this style where it's sequiny and sort of two-toned. It almost reminds me of like camo print. That's not my favorite. I would have liked this better if it was just black sequins all over. But I do think with her pixie cut and her snazzy earrings and this notched neckline that the styling is on point. The makeup looks lovely. But for my personal preference, I wouldn't put this on best dressed. I don't like that sort of almost like distressed sequined dresses. I'm not loving that. I would never really have taken to those. Chase Infinity is wearing Louis Vuitton. This is very interesting. The sculptural element of this is interesting, but I'm just not a big fan. Personally, I feel like this is kind of heavy, and especially in comparison to this very sleek skirt, it's not giving me balance as much as it is kind of this drape, especially the way it is down the backside, dominating the look overall. But perhaps at a different angle it would look better. I like the idea, I like the concept, because initially you would think this would give great balance, but I think maybe what the problem is in the volume of fabric that's layered in here. That is a lot of fabric folded and pleated together. That's what's making it look so heavy to me. However, this soft, pale yellow color can be really hard to pull off, and she looks amazing in it. So that's a really big positive. Audrey Nuna is wearing a very editorial Marc Jacobs look that I don't think belongs on the red carpet. You guys know my theory on red carpets with celebrities. It should always make the wearer look more beautiful. It's less about the fashion itself and more about the person looking and feeling more gorgeous, and I don't feel like this does this. This will be cool as an art piece. This is cool on the runway. This is interesting in a magazine, in an editorial photo shoot. On the red carpet, no. How would she even sit down with these giant discs and whatnot? I'm just not about it. It's not my vibe. Jacob Elordi is wearing Bottega Veneta. Looks very sharp. It's nice. I have no complaints here. It's a very nice suit. It's well fitted. He is really, really tall. I think he's like 6'5", so the longer hemline of the suit jacket is great. And it's not too voluminous either, so it allows his height to really be the focus of his silhouette overall, and it looks nice. Wearing Alberta Ferretti, we have Ariana Grande. This is very ethereal, very, very pretty. I think it's on brand for everything she's put out with the Wicked movies. I feel like this works for branding in that area. It makes sense. It's definitely an interesting design. I don't think it's horrible, but I also don't think it's necessarily best dressed territory, because the construction of this, the way it just hangs from the top seam, this sort of overlay, this sheer caped style paneling around the dress, gives me nightgown vibes more than evening gown. And I think that's a combination of the polka dotted pattern, the white color, and the draping effect, because it has no shape to it. Although Ariana Grande being super tiny and thin, she can handle something that doesn't have a lot of shape on top, especially because you can see through the more fitted pink dress beneath. But yeah, it just kind of gives me dressing gown vibes more than anything. So I don't know that I would put it on best dressed. Same with Bella Ramsey in Prada. I wouldn't call this best dressed. She is leaning into the menswear vibe, which is fine. I think as far as that's concerned, this is a quite interesting layered look, but I don't love the banding across here because it just sucks the eye in. The sparkles end up breaking up the vertical lines, and the matte banding breaking up the sparkles ends up being the most eye-catching part of this outfit, which in my opinion should have been sort of the other way around, which could have been avoided if there was just a little bit more fringe coming down, or if the banding wasn't so thick and pronounced. Skirt lower in Bottega Veneta, I'm not loving this. This looks stupid. This looks like they laid a blanket around her body and she's just wearing a blankie on top of her clothes. I hate it. It should be on worst dressed. Who put it on best dressed? They should be fired. While I appreciate Jessica Williams leaning into a look, like her styling is sending a very specific look, and I really like that, the fit of this outfit is the downfall and should take it off the best dressed list, because look at how it's all wonky around the bust line. It's not fitting her properly. The straps should be straight, the cup shouldn't be bulging over here on the side, her boob shouldn't be spilling out on the sides. It needs to be fitted better, and the effect of this would have been a lot more strong. But overall, I think the dress is interesting and obviously has like historical references, which I can appreciate. Eva Victor in Ferragamo, I don't love this. It's frumpy, it's erasing any degree of shape or waistline. It again looks more like something that should be like a bathrobe, a dressing gown, worn as loungewear, not something for the red carpet. It's also overwhelming her. It's way too big. It doesn't look intentional. If you're going to do oversized or you're going to do something that's a little bit more dramatic with your silhouette, you have to make sure it looks intentional. That is always the problem with these. If it looks on purpose and it's worn with confidence and it doesn't completely swallow the wearer, it's fine. But if it does this, it's not fine. It's not fine. This doesn't look on purpose. Jeff Goldblum always looks fabulous, still looks fabulous. Wearing Valentino, we have Amanda Seyfried. I really like her styling. The clean ponytail, the simple makeup, the jewelry, I think is all really, really beautiful. I like the soft pink column gown element to the skirt, but this bodice and the like mild peplum is starting too high. If the bow and the flare to that sort of peplum bodice started an inch or two lower, it would be a lot more flattering. Where it's at right here is actually taking away from her waistline and making her look a little bit more boxy, and that's unfortunate. Jessie Buckley in a very interesting Dior piece, wide leg trousers and a drapey top with these partial bow side panels. Mia Goth wore a blue dress that had these, that actually worked really, really well. I'm not sure this one is as successful as that because of the way it's layered in the top, the tunic length top. It looks amateur because you can see underneath the top layer that sweeps this way, you can see the creases and the folds of the other layer that's underneath. And to me, that looks less polished. It looks unintentional. It looks like it's being worn wrong, or it just is more amateur in its appearance. Also, because of the construction of this top, there was not really a great solution for Jessie Buckley to do like a strapless bra or something of that nature, and so things look a little squashed here around the bust line. It could have been a lot more flattering. I also would have liked it if it was just a little bit more open here. I feel like with some tweaks, this could have been a lot more successful, but as is, I would definitely not put this on best dressed. What is happening, Vogue? Ethan Hawke is wearing Bode, is an embellished suit with Western vibes. I like that he leaned into this. It's exciting, it's different, but I do feel like the embroidery along the bottom of the jacket is a little stiff and a little heavy. So a great try and a very interesting look, but best dressed I wouldn't say, just because it wasn't executed as well as it could have been. Teyana Taylor is wearing Saint Laurent. It's a very menswear inspired look, but has styling elements that are very feminine here with this sort of feathered piece. I like it, but I feel like I would like it better in a photo shoot. I feel like this would be so cool in like an ad or a photo shoot, and on the red carpet, I think it's bold and different, and she's pulling it off really, really well. It's very interesting. I mean, it's not like my personal taste. It's not my personal favorite, but honestly, I think it's okay. I think she's pulling it off, and this is what I mean. The menswear element to it is very obvious. Therefore, the suit jacket not nipping in at her waist a bunch or being, tailored in a feminine way is coming across as intentional because she has the tie and shirt underneath, because of the gloves and whatnot. It's very intentional looking. So she's getting away with it and pulling it off a lot better than the other more simple looks that we saw that looked overwhelming because they just didn't have that intentional styled vibe and they weren't worn with the same confidence. I'm amazed that I don't hate this look. In a very simple Miu Miu dress, we have Chase Sui Wonders. I think this is very nice. She has very, very clean lines. There are no undergarments in sight. There's no wrinkles. There's no creases. There's no lumps or bumps. This is executed perfectly, which allows the simplicity to carry the look and for it to look beautiful and wonderful. She even kept her makeup, hair, and jewelry simple for this. Pulled off wonderfully. She has a slightly more straight or perhaps even slightly apple body type. And so for her, having something that is monochrome and very, very simple with no other focal points besides the neckline is actually a really great styling approach because it allows the dress itself to just blend and flow. And it's slimming and elongating being monochrome like this. And so there's no other focal point to draw the eye any which way. So it's a very smart styling approach. She looks lovely. I think this is very successfully done. Would I call these the best dressed bunch? Certainly not. Be sure to join me for part 2 where we go on a hunt for some actual best dressed looks. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's video and I will see you next time. Have a happy day, everybody. Bye.